Welcome back everyone. Time for an exciting video today because it's going to be the first time we try to fire up the F150 with the new BMW M57 engine. So yeah, it's quite an exciting day. So I just wanted to go over a few things that have happened since the last video. Mostly just finishing bits off and tidying things up. See the engine in place as before. We've got a new power cable. The water system and the boost system is all now plumbed in and finished off. Got the new grill on, got the coolers all behind there. I think what else there is. I think the camera's a bit dirty. Let's see if I can get clean. That's a little bit better. So one of the things I was doing was tidying up the wiring for the rear lights, because it was very nasty. So you see it's all tidied and tucked away. You can't even see it under there now, apart from the lights for the number plate and stuff. And looked like an absolute rat's nest under here. There's wires hanging down everywhere. I think might have caught it on a few of the videos. And obviously going to tidy away the wiring inside, but for now, because I've been working on it and making sure everything works, obviously I've left the wiring out for the meantime because I don't want to tuck it all away and then find that there's an issue with it. So that will all get tidied and tucked away as best possible. Try and think if there's anything else. Don't think so. Maybe I'm just stalling before I try and start it. So yeah, let's give it a go. See, none of these clocks are going to work. The fuel gauge does, because that's all part of the old loom. Everything else isn't going to work. So I will be making a new custom dash with new gauges and everything else, which will be its own video. We do have a water temperature and battery voltage meter, which isn't wired up yet, but it's going to be in there for now. Eventually that'll end up in the new dash. So let's take a look. So the old Ford buzzer. I do have fuel pump switch. Now I'm not terribly keen on that. It's a little bit noisy, very noisy. I did want to go over one thing quickly. So we did, when we were putting the wiring in, we did obviously test fire it. We test fired it dry just to make sure the engine would turn over, so we knew that that was working, which it did. So it did turn over on the key, and then we put the fuel line on, but nothing. So we tested and it wasn't drawing fuel from the tank. So we put it on a jerry can, and then it did start to draw it. It just didn't like sucking from the tank when the pump was dry. So we primed the pump and it's now running off the tank. And then we tried to fire it again just to make sure, and then it was fuel was just running out the bottom of the engine, dripping off the side of the engine. We found down there, tucked well away, I had to take the intake manifold off, some water pipes and everything else. There was a part of the return line which comes across the top of the injectors where this connects into the return, it actually snapped. So I got a new one, replaced that, put everything back together, and here we are. So we know it does turn now that we've made some repairs. So here we go. The pump. It's noisier than I'd like it to be, let's put it that way. So here we have it. 3 litres of BMW M57N, the single turbo from a BMW 2004 530D, the 535 or the 335. They had the twin turbo. This is the pre-LCI engine. That's been sat for a while. I think the engine was idle for a year, 18 months, something like that. A year? No, more than that, because it didn't come out. It came out at the beginning of, not this year, last year. Sounds pretty decent, to be fair. Yeah, very happy with that. So it'll be interesting to get your thoughts on what you think about the build. I know some people probably won't be too happy that I took the Ford engine out and replaced it with a BMW engine, but you know, with the fuel prices over here and the amount of fuel that the old engine used to drink, like 8 to 10 miles per gallon from the factory, 135 horsepower I think it was. Today probably a lot less. And I mean, the engine wasn't in best of condition, so it needed a lot of work. And I want to drive, you know, I want to drive the truck as much as possible, really. So this is, I think, the best solution. So we should see somewhere around 30 miles per gallon out of this, in theory, somewhere around that. Also, it's running roughly 270 brake horsepower and I don't know, 500 foot-pound of torque or something crazy like that. So much better than the V8. Obviously going to miss the note of the V8, but I think the straight six has a nice sound anyway. So yeah, let me know what you think to this conversion. I mean, obviously it's not finished yet, it does run, but we don't know if it drives or anything else yet. I'm sure there's going to be some more issues along the way, but it'll just be great to get back on the road in it and get some miles, do some miles in it. So yeah, well, let me know. But yeah, I'll see what's going on and see if there's any issues, and we'll cover them in the next video. So yeah, beaming, absolutely beaming. Can't wait. It's getting closer and closer. I mean, obviously it's a huge step now getting it back on the road, getting it back running again. So yeah, milestone. Well happy.